Fellow white men, what we are out to exterminate is traitors to this country, and we are going to exterminate them. The white race isn't going to tolerate any more treason and race mixing in this country.
Democracy is presented to Westerners as inherently virtuous, the epitome and standard of good governance. America's leaders, even the president, call the United States a democracy, despite it being a republic on paper. Democracy is not in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, or Declaration of Independence, but it is what our system has become. Democracy, however, has never sustained itself for long. No society in history has successfully maintained a one-person, one-vote system through a period of increasing and sustainable prosperity. The ancient Greeks, who invented democracy, tried it in various forms and ended up abandoning it. Plato and Aristotle, among many other Greek thinkers, exposed its flaws in great detail and disgust. The founders of the United States similarly disdained it. Democracy can work in certain small, contained situations where the interests of all participants are aligned, and all are somewhat equally informed and willing to work together to implement the established consensus. But does that sound anything like the United States, or any other nation in the West for that matter? In practice, democracy has demonstrated time and time again its inability to scale. As the number of voters, geographic distance, personal interests, and issues of consequence increase, a democratic system becomes less effective at satisfying the needs of its constituents. And one should know it by its fruits, for almost every nation founded by Europeans is now filled with leaders who openly express their desire and intention to destroy their native population through open borders. While the United States was explicitly founded as a republic, the democracy it has become has bestowed endless rewards upon those who devoted their efforts into subverting it. The riches and power of its empire serve well those who have captured its elected leaders, world-renowned universities, insurmountable military might, and global media dominance. The classical leftists aren't wrong when they complain about these facts. The stupidity, however, arises when they finger the culprit as white Americans, the very group being dispossessed, silenced, diminished, and demonized. This wholesale looting is in keeping with the nature of this system of pure democracy, however. One person, one vote has created a litany of perverse incentives which has ultimately led to forcibly stuffing Western nations full of alien peoples, funneling resources to those communities, then weaponizing them to cement the dominance of a hostile elite. Democracy is therefore imposed upon liberated nations for a reason, and the motivations are not benevolent. Democracy and the simple freedoms it engenders cultivate a system that anesthetizes the masses from whom entire nations were stolen, to the point where it becomes easy to suppress the few who recognize the problem with clarity and stand up to name the perpetrators. At right-wing rallies, witness where the attendees do everything according to proper legal procedure and are violently and illegally attacked by rioting mobs armed with lethal weapons, then ruthlessly slandered and villainized by the globalist establishment media. For decades now, there has been no such thing as a legitimate election in the United States, Canada, Australia, or Europe. The Hart-Celler Act of 1965, a federal court system packed with admitted partisan activists, sanctuary cities, and open and unpunished electoral fraud are just a few of the signs of the inevitable rot in the United States electoral system. And it was always going to end up like this. In every society in which democracy is implemented or emerges, the ability of a working person to determine his own fate, secure the future of his descendants, or maintain the rights promised to him are inexorably diminished by parties working full-time to shape the public consciousness and change the rules to their favor, while plundering the wealth available. Democracy is voting booths inside mosques. Democracy is a constitutional scholar gloating in the Washington Post that white displacement will result in the elimination of Second Amendment rights. Democracy is a blue finger poking out of a burqa. Democracy is a postmenopausal, childless full-time activist indicating to a busload of functional illiterates which boxes to check on a ballot. Democracy is the Afghan parliament. For the ethnic Europeans who built the Western world, we are now faced with two possible futures having infinite separation: everything or nothing. And if we are to win out, democracy will simply not be a part of that future.